A young girl's strange numbers, buried in a time capsule, reveal a terrifying future of disasters. Now, a father must race against time to decode them and save his son. In 1959, the school playtime buzzes with activity, but a withdrawn young girl named Lucinda Embry remains isolated, seemingly surrounded by unheard voices. Their teacher, Miss Taylor, interrupts playtime and has to call Lucinda separately. The following day, Miss Taylor informs her class about the upcoming school opening celebration, which includes a competition where students envision the future through drawings. While her classmates eagerly begin drawing, Lucinda is guided by whispers to fill her paper with numbers. Before she can complete them, the time runs out, and Miss Taylor collects the drawings, placing them in a time capsule to be opened in 50 years. The next day marks the opening of William Dawes Elementary School, where the principal announces the burial of the time capsule, intended for their descendants to unearth half a century later. Shortly after the burial, Miss Taylor notices Lucinda's absence. A search ensues within the school, and Miss Taylor, descending a staircase, hears a sound from behind a closed door. Upon opening it, she discovers a terrified Lucinda with bloodied hands, having used her fingers to write the remaining numbers from the previous day on the door. The girl pleads with her teacher to silence the voices. 50 years later, in the present day of the movie, astrophysicist John grapples with profound depression following his wife's death in a fire, struggling to find meaning in life. His son Caleb also mourns. The next morning at Caleb's school, the current principal announces the opening of the long-buried time capsule, inviting the now elderly Miss Taylor to perform the honors. As the capsule is opened, each child receives an envelope. Caleb's contains Lucinda's entry, a sequence of numbers instead of a drawing. Looking at the paper, Caleb begins to hear whispers and glimpses a distant figure outside the school, which vanishes upon closer inspection. At home, Caleb asks his father for permission to have a sleepover. During their conversation, John notices the paper and questions Caleb, reminding him it wasn't to be brought home. After putting Caleb to bed, John becomes intrigued by the numbers. He inadvertently places a whiskey glass on the paper, circling specific digits. Transferring these numbers to a whiteboard, he shockingly realizes they represent September 11th, 2001, the date of the World Trade Center attack, with the number of victims, 2996, precisely matching the sequence. Initially dismissing it as coincidence, John transcribes all the numbers onto the whiteboard and delves deeper, uncovering a series of similarly disturbing predictions. Since 1959, a list details dates, years, and the number of deaths in various tragic events like explosions, crashes, earthquakes, and hurricanes, presented chronologically. The dates of tragedies are marked with red circles, and death counts with blue. However, some uncircled numbers remain unexplained. The following day, John discusses the paper with his colleague, Phil. He explains that each set of numbers corresponds to a major disaster's date and death toll, with consistent predictions, even including his wife's death date. John mentions 3 sets of future numbers, one predicting 81 deaths tomorrow. Phil dismisses this as unbelievable coincidence, pointing out other uncircled, seemingly meaningless numbers, and suggests it might be a prank. John seeks more information, visiting Miss Taylor, Lucinda's former teacher, in 1959 during the burial of a time capsule to verify the letter's authenticity. Miss Taylor confirms its originality and recounts Lucinda's strange behavior after the burial. John wants to meet Lucinda, but learns she died from a drug overdose years ago. At home, while searching for contacts, John sees strange men giving his son, Caleb, a rock without a word, unsettling him. He warns Caleb about strangers. While researching Lucinda's death online, his sister, Grace, startles him. Grace urges John to visit their family, as he hasn't spoken to their deeply religious parents, whom John, an atheist, has a strained relationship with in a long time, but he refuses. The next day, en route to pick up Caleb, John is stuck in traffic with no alternative routes. Examining his GPS coordinates, he realizes the previously unexplained uncircled numbers are coordinates of future disaster locations, and he is currently at 1. Leaving his car to investigate the road blockage, the predicted tragedy occurs. A plane crashes and people die as he tries to help. He returns home, still grappling with the unbelievable events. John's online search about the accident confirms the report of 81 deaths. That night, a strange man enters Caleb's room, showing him a terrifying vision of widespread destruction and fleeing animals, causing Caleb to scream. His father rushes in to comfort him. While holding Caleb, John glimpses the stranger through the window and pursues him, but the man disappears. The following morning, John and Caleb follow a woman and her daughter to a museum. There, John introduces himself to the woman, Diana, who is Lucinda's daughter. John explains he sought her out regarding her mother. Diana reacts with distress at Lucinda's name. John reveals that Lucinda's prediction has come true, with only 2 events remaining. The final prediction, for October 19th, foretells 33 deaths, and he needs Diana's assistance. However, Diana refuses and leaves with her daughter, Abby. News reports later mention possible terrorist attacks. Using GPS coordinates, John locates the site of the next predicted disaster, a subway station. He attempts to warn the police. At the subway, John chases a man he mistakenly believes is a terrorist onto a train, with the police in pursuit. They discover the man is merely a CD thief. As the train departs, a derailed train hurtles towards them, resulting in chaos and numerous deaths, fulfilling another part of the prediction. The subsequent scene depicts survivors emerging from the wreckage, including John, as police and firefighters offer aid. Returning home, John is surprised to find Diana and Abby waiting for him. Diana tells him that the last disaster on Lucinda's list is on October 19th, the same day Lucinda predicted her own death. She initially hesitated to speak with him because she dreaded knowing when someone would die. Diana then takes John to Lucinda's former secluded home. Arriving there, they realize the final numbers on the list after October 19th are not 33, but the reversed letters EE, which they suspect are initials. Inside the house, John searches Lucinda's bedroom and discovers that EE in the last prediction signifies everyone will die. He also finds many black stones, similar to the one Caleb received. Outside, Caleb and Abby, waiting in the car, begin to hear whispers and see strange figures beckoning them. Abby is almost taken, but Caleb uses the car horn to attract attention. John and Diana encountered strange individuals who vanished after a brief interaction. John pursued one, who then disappeared in a flash of bright light from his mouth when questioned. Returning home, John and Diana were troubled by the realization that Diana's mother's prediction of widespread death the following day might be their last night together. The next morning, Abby's drawing prompted John to consider a connection between the impending disaster and the sun. Recalling research on destructive solar superflares, he found it aligned with the final prediction for the following day. At the observatory, abnormal solar radiation readings confirmed his fears of an imminent large solar flare causing widespread destruction. They prepared to seek refuge in an underground cave from Diana's childhood. John tried to call Caleb, but found him mirroring Lucinda's list-making. Realizing the significance of Lucinda's 50-year-old writing on the school door to the final prediction, they went to retrieve it. John removed the door to decipher the writing at home. Impatient and fearful, Diana took the children and drove towards the caves. John extracted coordinates from the door, believing they indicated a safe location. However, he returned to find them gone and pursued them. Diana stopped at a gas station where a government announcement warned of impending danger and advised seeking underground shelter. She called John, who suggested Lucinda's old home as a potential safe haven based on the coordinates. But Diana refused to go there, scared. While still on the phone, strangers stole her car with the children. Diana stole another car and gave chase, but collided with a truck, fatally breaking her neck. She died in front of John at exactly midnight, fulfilling her mother's prediction. John drove to Lucinda's abandoned house, following a hidden path. He discovered numerous black stones and confronted one of the strange men, threatening to shoot. Caleb intervened, revealing that the strangers had been protecting them and that they needed to go with them to be saved. The beings behind the disaster warnings, aiming to prevent humanity's complete annihilation, revealed a celestial ark, stunning John. Departure was imminent, but only children, the chosen ones, were permitted passage. A tearful goodbye ensued between Caleb and his father, before the men transformed into radiant forms and the ark ascended. Simultaneously, numerous arks departed from various global locations. John awoke the next morning to a chaotic city and returned to his family home. His sister greeted him with an embrace, and he reassured her of Caleb's safety. Inside, a family hug encompassed John, his father, mother, and sister. The sun flare's destructive force engulfed them all in their embrace as the movie concluded. The ark then deposited the children in diverse locations and vanished. Caleb and Abby ran towards a massive tree in a field. The film's conclusion unveils the beings who communicated with Lucinda and Caleb as an advanced alien race. Their mission was to rescue select humans and animals from the impending planetary destruction. The multiple departing spaceships suggest a global outreach of these messages. The selection of only children raises questions about their self-sufficiency. It's plausible these children possess diverse knowledge and skills, chosen for their potential to collaborate effectively. The aliens' motive for choosing children was likely to foster a fresh start, unburdened by adult tendencies to replicate past destructive patterns. Children, being more receptive, might better understand the aliens' actions as they mature. Furthermore, the aliens might not abandon the children, but instead observe from above, ready to descend and provide guidance for building a new civilization and ensuring their survival. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more. See you in the next one.